Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time for our Eye in Isolation. We have a very special edition of Eye in Isolation. Our friend, Allie Wentworth, who is, hi, oh, you look great.
Right. Well, I stole my 16-year-old's makeup and I did the best that I could.
You know what? It's helpful, isn't it?
It's very helpful to have teenage girls in your house that care about what they look like because I have nothing with me but chapstick.
Yep. So I know, I know. Now, listen, you had a really serious case of the coronavirus. You were very, very sick. You're fully recovered now. How do you feel? And take us through it.
Okay. So I started a few weeks ago. I had a very heavy chest, not in the good way. And I started to feel sick. And George was like, I think you have it. I think you have it. And all of a sudden, I got a fever. I had muscle aches. I was sweating. I mean, really sick in a way that I've never felt before. It wasn't like the flu. It wasn't like when I was pregnant. It was like I had these electric pulses going up and down my body, and it hurt so much to even lift my arm. So I was in bed. I took Tylenol. I took a Z pack. I drank orange juice. And it finally, the fever dissipated. But the hardest part was actually after the 3 weeks. I was still really fatigued and achy. And so when I came out of isolation, and my house looked like a frat house during pledge week, and there was just thong underwear and dishes everywhere, I didn't have the energy to clean, which was very difficult for me. So I've just now I've started the laundry. Like, things are starting to look not like Grey Gardens anymore.
So that's how you're celebrating. You're doing the laundry and the
Doing the
dishes.
laundry,
You're
which you
celebrating your
find
recovery that
therapeutic,
way.
though.
How nice.
So,
Yeah.
How nice.
So you're recovered or recovering. I saw George has recovered. So give us the status of everybody in the house there.
George is recovered, although George had no symptoms, which is very indicative of who we are as people. I'm sick as a dog. He has no symptoms, but he's done his quarantine. And now we're in the house with our two teenage daughters who are totally fine. They haven't been sick, and two dogs. And by the way, I have to tell you one thing. Again, right when I come out of isolation, which I kind of want to go back to, somebody, George, let the gate open, and my beloved dog Cooper, who is the love of my life, escaped and was gone for like 4 or 5 hours. And there's nothing we could do because we were all quarantined. And then he came back and he was covered in matted mud and algae and blood, and he smelled like death. And he hid under a pine tree for like 6 hours, shaking like some kind of trauma. And we think like some deers like beat him up, like went like
Oh my
gangster on
gosh,
him.
that's heartbreaking.
He's never been the same since.
Wait, were you
You know,
upset
Allie,
with George?
Upset is not the word, but it wasn't his fault.
over the summer we had dinner and Cooper escaped that night as well, if you recall. Your
He hates
dog,
he hates his life
he's a,
here.
he's a runner. That dog is a runner.
He is a runner. I want him to stay with me, although he did sleep with me every night of quarantine. So
Oh,
Well, you mentioned
see,
you're missing quarantine in a way, but if and when things hopefully soon get back to normal, what are you looking forward to actually doing again?
well, at least yours are dark. That must be nice. What's it like to have nice dark hair?
why are you gray, Grandma Moses?
Oh, I am Santa Claus white. Santa. I am Mrs. Claus.
By the way, have you guys noticed in quarantine, all we talk about is food? I get texts from upstairs. What's for dinner? I'd like fajitas. I'd like this. I'd like that. That's all we talk about.
Do you know what's for dinner in our house and breakfast and lunch? Big bowls of cereal. We don't eat cereal, but we do now. We are cereal people. That's all we eat now.
When
At
you
all
start eating when you start eating cereal completely naked over the sink, then you know you've circled the drain.
The only reason that I have clothes on is because I was told that FCC regulations stipulate I have to wear at least a shirt.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But by the way, when I finally had to say no to my daughters going, let's make a TikTok. I was like,
Oh no.
no, no,
Oh, no.
things have not gotten that bad.
I won't quit. I refuse.
Hey, we're glad you're feeling better. Thanks so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on. Say hi to everybody for us. Take care of
Okay,
yourself.
thanks, guys.
Distant.
Bye,
Bye,
Allie.
Allie. You know, Ryan, she looks great.
She looks great, and she's pure entertainment. I mean, that was comic relief that we needed, right?
She was funny the whole time. I would text her, and the responses were, I'm like, okay, it hasn't taken hold of her sense
But
of
meanwhile,
humor.
she's going through some really tough stuff, as she said.
Yeah, really tough. Yeah, it was hard.